Just gonna send it!
Well, I did not in fact send it. Rather, I had a pretty tough morning with a lot of learnings. More on that later. Welcome back, frothers. Time for another adventure down south. Let's get moist. It's a bit of a different video, broken up into two distinct parts. So if you're here for the cook-up, skip the 6.5 minute mark and you'll find the cook-up on the beach. But if you want to see some diving beforehand, then hang about. We're about to get moist. We headed down on the south coast again of New South Wales, not far from Jervis Bay, starting out around there and checking a couple of new reefs we've been scoping on Navionics. Conditions were pretty sharp, bugger all wind, no real swell, and the viz was pretty good to us, so mostly out there over the 10 metre mark. It's down with a couple of good lads, Captain Brown on freefall again, and Joe was along for the ride as well. Now, this is my first time really testing out a load assist on the 110 Rob Allen. She's a bit of a beast to load. With this load assist, super easy. I actually really liked it, really quick, just took a bit of effort out of it and, made my day a bit easier. Now, I wasn't really sure what to do with the load assist, so I decided to clip it off onto my shark clip on the handle. Seemed pretty secure. Nice little drop here, and this was a great spot to put it, and take it from me, a much better place than rolling it up your left arm, as I later found out that day when it wasn't there after a dive. So from now on, those load assists will be going on the bottom of the gun. Anyway, super cool terrain this. Check out this weed. It's just like an alien planet down here. I absolutely love this little spot. We're down in that sort of 6 to 8 metre mark, I think, around here for most of it. And it sort of just creeps over to a few ledges that drop off at a metre or two at a time. And we were just snooping around in here, having a little bit of a look. Never been here before. But pretty cool looking ground and a little bit hopeful of it being good for snapper. Decided to do a couple of drops and practice my very poor snapper snooping. Run over to the edge of these ledges from a fair way back and just sort of peer over and hope not to spook something and get a shot in. Spent the morning doing this. As you can see, the terrain was pretty much ideal for it, just looking down these crevices and over these edges. But unfortunately, no snapper for me today. Didn't even see one this time. But still a great spot and definitely going to have to come back here. Might even begrudgingly give it a crack with a bit of burley, something I haven't done before, but you got to do what you got to do. Anyway, enough of this. I've been hanging around not pulling the trigger because I've been waiting for snapper and I'm getting pretty hungry. You see, all week I've been thinking about goatfish. I just love goatfish done over the coals. And today I was going home with some no matter what. So they're pretty reliable down here. Thought we'd head off and get a couple and, chuck them in the esky. Now, as I'm doing this drop, I'm already thinking about what I'm going to cook up. I've seen goatfish around. There's been plenty of them. So I figure I'll head down, shoot one in the face, get it back home. Once it's there, I'm going to dry age it, get it to that perfect texture, rub it in some salt, a little bit of olive oil, and get over some charcoal on the Weber. Can taste it already. Right on cue, here it comes. Now look away now if you're sensitive to people embarrassing themselves, because here comes the cringe fest. This was not my morning. I just missed fish after fish after fish. The way I was going, I couldn't hit the side of a barn door from 20 paces. It was just embarrassing. Oh, so, look at this pretty little fish. That's a nice banded marlin. Time to have a little bit of a breathe, a bit of a recalibration. And quite frankly, I'm starting to reevaluate my life decisions and whether I even should be out here at all. Happens to us. I wanted to blame that gun, but as my previous videos show, certainly not the problem. This is 100% operator error. Now, I am running a double wrap, and a couple of those shots were longer, but let's be frank, I was just not pulling the trigger at the right time. I head back down, and a couple of the smallest goatfish of the day come on in. Now, I really questioned as to whether I'd take a shot, because if I missed again, I think I was just going to have to pack up and go home. But, spent some time down here, I chilled out and I relaxed. Now, this is a bloody long shot on a pretty small fish. I'm not going to lie, I'm not proud of the size of it, but bragging rights. But what was beautiful about this was after all my failures, I got back into it, I calmed down, and I put a beautiful shot straight through the head from a long way back. Thank God for that. I don't have to go home.
Just had to shoot something. It was just a get.
It was like a 7-metre shot.
Thank you, Captain Brown. Might not have been quite 7 metres, but she was a long shot, mate, and I appreciate you giving me a bit of stoke back there. I needed that. So anyway, the rest of the day actually went really well. Dropped down, I got a few more fish, some drummer, some good goatfish, and Captain Brown, mate, he went on an absolute spree. The guy had a bloody body count higher than cancer by the time we got home. But, you know, fridge was full and he hadn't been out for a while. Now, sadly, another little failure of the day was Brownie's memory card did not work, and I'd really wanted to cut in some footage from him. So I promise next time we get it, I'll do that. This lovely stone shot on a drummer is a nice way to finish up the day for me, and it's a nice way to finish up this video. Well, at least the spearfishing part. So if that's all you're here for, thanks for coming. See you next time. However, if you want to see the cook up on the beach that happened a bit over 24 hours later, hang about, because that's the theme of the story from here.
Sorry? Yeah, I think Brady wants to go to different.
Time to get into the garage. We need a medium goatee for this one. That'll be a beauty. Thanks, buddy. What an afternoon. Spring has hit the south coast. It's in the low to mid 20s. Beaches are still empty, so we're going to go down and make ourselves a bit of dinner by the water. Got some beautiful goatfish the other day out with the boys, and you have to throw one of those on the coals. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? Now, about the only thing better than cooking a goatfish over coals on the Weber is coals on the beach. And that's the plan today. So, plenty of driftwood about, start a small little fire, we're going to let it burn down, get a good base of coals there, nice and hot, I'm going to cook this fish on there. To save me getting sand all through my beautiful fish, I've reverse butterflied this at home. It's a great technique, it includes the removal of the rib bones and the pin bones with fish tweezers, and it leaves you with a great slab of meat, skin on, perfect for going over the coals, perfect way to eat it. Now I can show you how I do it, however there's much better examples, so I'll leave the link to the legend himself, Josh Niland, who'll show you how it's done. Alright, that's living. Now by far the best technique for this, I think, is coating the fish both sides with olive oil before you add the salt on. This just works as a bit of a binding agent, helps with the crisping up a little bit as well, but look, I didn't bring any with me today, so salt straight onto the flesh. I do massage it in a little bit with my fingers, works a treat. On the skin side after dry aging, hey, not so much, and you know, I certainly put a little sprinkle on after it's cooked as well. Cheap little wire press like that, you pick those up from places like BCF for like 20 bucks or so. Great little tool to have in your backpack. Makes life really easy. Now, all I'm doing is just letting this fire burn down, let those coals get to the perfect temperature for cooking, and then we're going to put that fish straight on. That fire's burnt down nicely, time to put it on, and I'll start with the skin side down first, almost resting directly on the coals, just a couple of sticks to prop it up. Sun setting, let those coals die down, this goatfish on there. Now the cook time for this goatfish is probably about the 10 to 12 minute mark. I like to take that skin right to the point before it starts to blacken, maybe actually a few little black bubbles actually, really crisp it up nicely before I flip it over. And while that's happening, I've sort of snuck around the beach, grabbed a little bit of extra driftwood because I've got another plan here. I've brought myself a lovely little ribeye on the bone. That's going to be the second course, so this one's just the entree. Now these goatfish are a beautiful oily fish, and even though I didn't put that olive oil on, it didn't dry out at all, and that skin just crisped up beautifully. It's the best part of the fish. It's got a real crustacean flavour to it, and that combined with the way this fish just flakes off in large pieces just makes it fantastic. This isn't going to require any cutlery at all. I'll just probably use my little bush knife there and get into it with my fingers. The only thing I think it needs is just a little bit of a squirt of fresh lemon. Absolutely perfect. And hey, I'll season with a little bit of extra salt right when I serve it up as well. Now the GoPro is doing a great job of capturing the last of this sunlight, so it's actually a little bit later than it looks on the video, but I couldn't think of a better way to finish the day than just chilling out on the beach, eating a bit of fresh local seafood, watching the waves roll in next to a campfire. I mean, geez, life just doesn't get much better than this. Look at those big flakes. Fantastic stuff. So smash this down. I've got to say my favourite part is probably the fins. I mean, yep, the skin's great and all, but those little red fins, they're kind of like crispy little crab chips. Delicious little things. Once this is done, head down the beach, clean up, get that fire ramped back up and some fresh coals, and get this ribeye on. Now the ribeye's just been hanging out, getting up to air temperature. Definitely want to have it up at ambient before we cook it, and it's been really well seasoned on both sides. It's going to make for perfect cooking over these coals and going to be the best way to finish the day off. Of course, I add a little bit of extra salt because, well, I can never have enough of that stuff. Straight into this same wire rack, clamp it down and get it back onto those fresh coals. Smash that fish. And it was bloody delicious. Still got this beach to myself. So, why not go to surf and turf? Ribeye on the bone there. It's gonna be good. I think I'll be here for a couple of hours now, until this sun fully disappears. Wow, and I mean wow. How simple and how wonderful. That bit of beef just cooked on those coals with nothing but sea salt. Just sensational. What a way to finish it off. Absolutely satisfying. I'm actually, my mouth's watering just watching that again. I've got to get back out there and do it. Just watch those last rays of sunshine down. Eat all this beef, gnaw away at the bone, give myself a quick clean up, call it quits, and then I guess I've got to go home at some point, haven't I? Well, that was a good feed. South Coast surf and turf does not disappoint. Goatfish on charcoal, followed by a ribeye on the bone, just catching a gorgeous sunset. Spring is in the air. We have been getting some sort of mid-20s. It's absolutely fantastic. Those water temps have come up a touch. They're in about 17 degrees. We're down to 16s the other day. I think I'm frothing to get out again, so try and get moist tomorrow, chase a few crays and some abs. Hope you all get out and do the same.